All right, so after I posted the video on Facebook the other day about tithing, and I challenged some people to go and look it up and read it and study for themselves, um, I got a message from a guy. I want to know if I would do a question and answer podcast. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know one thing about podcasts, but I am going to do a question and answer. In fact, I am going to answer a question that has come up. There are people who study tithing, and usually they will see a lot of the truths that I have been talking about. They will see that tithing was instituted to be taken up by the Levitical priest under the Old Covenant. They will see from Scripture that only two people were ever required to tithe, that are farmers who were raising crops for food and animals for human consumption. They will also see that Malachi is oftentimes twisted to threaten people into believing that they're robbing God if they don't tithe. That is a twisting of that Scripture. That Scripture was not even talking to the people. The book of Malachi was actually written to the priest. So it was the clergy in Malachi that God was rebuking for robbing him. It was not the people. And if they would teach that in context, you would also clearly see that. But the problem that they then go, when they have nothing to fall back on, they'll say something like this: well, tithing was before the law, and therefore we are still bound by it today. And their whole reasoning behind that is because Abraham, in the book of Genesis, tithed to Melchizedek, and it was spoils of war. It had nothing to do with his income or an increase on his income. He did give a tenth of the spoils of war to Melchizedek, and they take that to mean that because Abraham tithed that before Moses received the law, then that means we are still bound to the tithe today because it predated the law. The problem with that is it's inconsistent and unbiblical. Because, see, there was another ordinance that was before tithing, that was before the law as well, and that was the ordinance of circumcision that was also given by God. Matter of fact, unlike tithing to Melchizedek, circumcision was a direct command from God for Abraham. And just a very casual reading, of the New Testament proves that we are no longer bound by the ordinance of circumcision. In fact, 1 Corinthians chapter 7 makes it clear that if an uncircumcised man becomes a Christian, he's not to have himself circumcised, not for any religious reasons anyway. And, Paul attacked this ideology that came into the early church from the Judaizers. And he refuted this. It's absolutely incorrect. It's inconsistent, and therefore does not, once again, prove that we are still under the command to tithe today. So there's your answer. Take it back, share it with your pastor, and good luck.